Guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Finding Beauty. Welcome to Finding Beauty, everybody. Today, we're going to do some really fun makeup. In fact, we're going to work on it all week into next week. We're going to do some really inspirational, fun makeup and learn some history too, period makeup. So I'm going to be doing different makeup designs from different time periods, different decades. It's a lot of fun. So the first one we're starting with is 1920s, a little bit of American history, and then we'll dive right in. Women were really breaking free from their Victorian mothers and grandmothers and really looking forward to this new age and very rebellious, right? So when we think about hair with the 1920s, haircuts became very short. The classic bob was introduced. They also did a lot of pin curling and there were some drastic ways of curling hair back then too, using electrical shock to the hair, pretty dangerous. Now, of course, I have really long hair. So just to give you a little bit of an effect, I pulled my hair back and just kind of used some of the long pieces to kind of create a bob effect. And just use like a crimping curling iron to give it a little bit of a wave. What else can I say about hair? Hair, makeup, clothing really was inspired by film, and it was silent film. So the makeup was very expressive because there was no sound. So the actresses really had to use their facial expressions to tell a story. So one thing you'll notice in silent films in the 1920s is that the women had shaved eyebrows. They would take their eyebrows off and they would pencil it in. That was a signature look. So the bob hair was very signature. When it came to fashion, there was a new wave of Oriental clothing from the West or East, depending on where you are in the world. So China was a big influence, big floral patterns, clothing that was almost like a tunic style, like a full piece. So the Oriental Chinese fashion was all in vogue, and we see that in a lot of photographs and movies of the 1920s. Women would lighten their face, especially Black women. If you had darker skin, it was very racist. The lighter you were, the more in vogue or in style you were. So a lot of women would purposely lighten their skin with bleaching creams. The makeup that they had for the skin was powder. So actresses would use pressed powder or loose powders. It was kind of very cakey. So it was in between a loose and a press to lighten their skin and powder their skin. Also, it was very in vogue for your younger people to do their makeup in public, which was during the Victorian age was unheard of. You did not do something like that. So it was very risque. So doing makeup in public was like very rebellious, powdering your nose, touching up your lipstick. It was just very taboo. And if you were doing things like that, you were a real rebellion. Also, shorter dresses were in, lifting the dress up to show your legs. That was something very rebellious too, that a lot of women were doing. Now, makeup, short haircuts, and wearing makeup was considered a woman that was very promiscuous or a prostitute. So by cutting your hair short and wearing, lacy clothing, big pattern clothing, wearing things that you would see on the big screen was, considered almost emulating that very risque type of lifestyle. And women were really breaking out of their shell. Thank God for that, right? All right. So for makeup, let's just jump in and I'm going to get started. I'm going to use some Too Faced foundation in the color Snow. So I really want my skin to be as pale as possible because that's what they really went for, was very light skin. But I was also reading, I'm going to talk and do this. I was also reading that bronzers, believe it or not, were starting to be developed and darker powders. So some women were starting to wear a little bit of darker makeup. That's the fun thing about makeup and fashion. As you're doing research, you'll notice like, okay, in one respect, one thing was being done and then other people were doing other things. So, clearly there were no rules with makeup and hair back then too. People did what they want. So I'm using my mini mirror. I don't have my big mirror today, but because I'm down in my kitchen dining room area. All right. So I'm going to use also a heavier coverage. This Too Faced doesn't have a super heavy coverage. It's kind of a light to medium. So I'm going to go over my eye area, especially just because I want to try to cover or neutralize my eyebrows the best that I can. There was very little or contouring just didn't exist, which you'll see in a minute. The blush was very circular. In fact, the look was to make you look wider and cheekier, which is very, very pretty. I think it's really important as a makeup artist or a fashion designer or a hair designer to, study time periods, different looks, different cultures. I think it really helps with our, inspirations. It keeps us very, very creative. All right. So there we go with the light skin. Now, again, they would use a lot of powder. I'm going to use a pressed powder later. So couple things, signature looks to 1920s makeup. The eyebrow was pencil thin, and they used a lot of kohl, so dark kohl pencils, okay? That was their eyeliner. And they would use the eyeliner as their eyebrow pencil. That's what they had. So dark kohl black, and you'll see that in a lot of photos and silent movies. You'll see this very dark, almost moon-shaped eyebrow, which I'm going, and it was really, really thin. So I'm going to keep this as authentic as possible, as true to, a 1920s makeup. Of course, we can be inspired by it and modify it, but I really want to give you the full effect. The eyeshadow also was very kohl. Sorry, I'm just going to focus right here to make sure that I'm so cold today. Okay, there we go. If I work in a cold environment, it's a little hard for me. We had a lot of snow. It's freezing out. Okay, I think that's pretty balanced. Okay, so they used a lot of coal colors, a lot of smoky, vampy. Okay, it's also described a lot. Your 1920s makeup could be described as vamp, which is short for vampire. And I was reading about, why did they start vampire vamp makeup? Because they were saying, I read this article about how women, they were vampires to men's wallets. That it was very in vogue and very, I keep saying in vogue, risque. You would, women, I guess, were, now labeled as, these financial vampires because they would go for men and just suck them dry with their money. So I guess maybe that has a lot to do with the whole prostitution thing. Hey, Barshani. Sorry, I can't say your Instagram name. It's really long, but good morning. I see that you're laughing about that. Yeah, so that's where the whole vamp came in. The vampire, you were sucking the financial life out of men. And the vampire look was the very smoky coal eye. Now, where did that inspiration come? Well, King Tut, there was a lot of excavation in Egypt at the time, and it was, very newsworthy. So we were bringing back all this information about Egyptian history and culture to the United States. And women were really intrigued by the whole Cleopatra, the King Tut, sculptures, mummies, and the study of the face and how the makeup looked on these artifacts, the way the eyes were shaped with that deep, dark coal eyeliner and the dark eye makeup. So any woman that was wearing, again, the short hair, the oriental patterns, the Egyptian eye makeup, you were a vampire. You had this amazing sex appeal and you were going to suck some man's wallet dry. You were going to go all after. Okay, Borsha, welcome to MakeupClasses.com. You are going to go after their money, and that was the end of that. So, yeah, women, we got a bad rap back then too. All right, so Egyptian makeup. Okay, well, a lot of coal. All right, so a lot of the eyeliner. Oh, I just want to smooth. You see a little dot. The makeup actually was very smudgy. Now think about it. Okay, so makeup artists working on period pieces, right? You have to think about not only the type of makeup that they used and what was available. Okay, what colors were actually available? Okay, so what colors were available? We had black kohl eyeliner, we had black eyeshadow, we had blue eyeshadow, we had purple, we had green, and we had gold, but nothing that was really sparkly. It was like more of like a matte makeup. So how was this makeup applied? They didn't use brushes. Women really couldn't afford anything like that. So the makeup was applied with the fingers. So you would put on, of course, your pencil, which I'm going to do. It was like really, really heavy down, under eye eyeliner. Okay, so we had that really coal, dark under eye. They had one pencil, that's what you could afford. And you used it on your eyebrows. And then you did your eyeliner with it too. So when you're doing these, I want a tissue so badly. I'm just going to close my eyes here. So when you work on a movie or a TV show, guys, makeup artists, you've got to do your research and learn about makeup of that time period, understand what products were actually available. I think that ruins a movie or a TV show when the makeup is just so inaccurate and it just doesn't look right and it's just not appropriate to that time period. So they would actually apply the eyeliner and then go in to their eyeshadows with their fingers. So the eyeliner was really smudgy. Okay. So everything kind of just smudged together and they got that coal Egyptian look. So that's what I want you to keep in mind when you're doing a 1920s eye. For the most part, I did see some eye makeup that wasn't, as dark. Not everybody wore the darker eyeshadow. So if I were a makeup artist and I'm working on an actress and I want that smudgy that authentic eyeshadow look, because in my head as an artist, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, that actor, that character is doing their own makeup, right? They're doing their own makeup in real life, right? In the movie. So she would actually use her fingers. It wouldn't be perfect. How do I make that look like authentic, but using brushes? So the type of tool, remember the product, the tool, the technique equals a result. So the type of tool that I'm going to choose for this type of authentic, smudgy look would be a fluff brush, something with less density that would allow me to be a little bit more messier and move the product around. So I'm going to use some blue today. I'm going to use some purple because those were authentic colors of the 1920s. And then I'm also going to use some black. So I'm just dipping into some purple. I'm using that Smashbox eyeshadow. Sorry, Instagram. Okay. And I do have a paper towel over here. So I'm just tapping out and I'm just kind of pressing and mimicking, what would someone do with their finger? They would really just blend, 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 blend. And you would just get this really smoky, coaly look. And I'm not putting any highlighter on because they didn't have the white highlighter. All right. They just had that dark shadow. And they wanted that Egyptian vampy look. You've got that light skin. And this super dark eye. So think to yourself, what would someone do in the 1920s to apply their makeup, or any time period, whatever time period you're working on? You want to understand the tools that were available, the products that were available. Do your little bit of history, learn about what's going on in the world at the time. What are the influences? Like I said, the Chinese clothing was a big influence, the excavation and anthropology work that was going on in Egypt at the time. All of these things were, really influences. Also, weight. Okay, so here's the irony. You know what? I'm just going to go in with a little bit of blue because I want to move on. I know this is a long video, so I'm just going to tap in a little bit of blue. Let's tap in a little bit of black just to give it, again, that vampy look. Okay, so actresses, right? They want to, what was in style on camera, it was very, very thin. You wanted to hide your bust. The flatter you were, the better. The skinnier you were, the better. There were even products when I was doing my research, like soap that you would use that claim that would help with weight loss. So the thinner you were, the more in style you were as well. And the lighter skin, like I said, also. But here's the irony. Even though, it was very in style to be skinny, a wider face, a wider cheek area was the style. So, we have a lot of contouring. We learn that. We think it's a lot of fun, right? Sculpting the face, doing all that. But back in the 1920s, they didn't do that. What they simply did was use there were like a few colors. I think there were like 5 colors available. They were mostly light pinks. There was an orange, which was kind of like a light peach. So I've got this light pink and this peachy color, and I'm just tapping in, and I'm tapping into the pink, and I'm just swirling it on a paper towel here. And the cheek color was just very big, very wide, and it was just kind of like all over. So the wider your cheek, the better. And again, look at those 1920s silent films, the over exaggeration of the cheek area. So yes, we want to be skinny, but then we want to go in, girls, and fatten up our faces and really just bring like all this attention and widen our face up with this blush color. And again, there were very few products on the market. I don't think we had foundation. It was powder, but I used the foundation to cover, my brows and lighten my skin as best that I can. All right. So a lot of cheek area. And again, they would go back and they would powder. I'm going to take you would use a powder puff. They did have powder puffs, but I'm just going to take a sponge and use this light color. So they would powder their noses, and they would do this in public, and their Victorian mothers and grandmothers would see them do this and go, "Oh, how dare you? You're so risque. You must be promiscuous. You must be a vampire sucking the money out of a man's wallet. How dare you?" And those big patterns of the Chinese clothing, you rebellious woman, you. But we could vote. There we go. All right. So here we go. Eyelashes. Now, there were some dangerous practices with eyelashes back then. People were actually sewing in lashes. I read like taking real lashes and somehow surgically sewing them into the eyelid. Very dangerous. I also learned about an actress, I forget who it was, that had fake lashes glued with spirit gum. Makeup artists, if you worked with spirit gum, that's like pretty strong stuff. You should not be using that on your eyes. Very dangerous. And she came to the movie set the next day with her eyes like practically closed and just blown up, having this horrible reaction. So lash glues really weren't developed. There really wasn't much, many safe ways of applying lashes. So mascara was in a cake form. It was a powder, and they would use a brush, not like a mascara wand that we have today, but more of like like a brush like this, but it was longer, and they would put on this cake mascara. I have seen it. I believe they still sell that. I used it many years ago when I was younger, when I was in the theater. And it just gives the eyelashes a very thick, dark look. Now, I noticed online that makeup artists were applying strip lashes to get that effect for the, that heavy eye, but truly no one used strip lashes back then. It was just like a lot of mascara. But if you want to give yourself more of, that heavy eye look, you could use eyelashes. Sorry, I'm trying to open this. Sugar. Okay. So when you remove lashes, guys, always take from the outer edge and you want to measure. Twisted this. You want to make sure the lash fits. And this should fit me because I've worn this size before. The lashes that I chose today, they're not really that thick. They're the Demi Wispies 01. Again, they didn't have lashes back then. They didn't have the strip lashes. So we want to be as authentic as possible. You would just wear a lot of mascara. Just for video effect today, I'm using the white glue, which will dry clear. Sorry, guys. I'm going to use my glasses. Make sure this is even. Ooh, this glue is not really happy with it. All right, so for added 1920s drama, you can use a strip lash. Let's see. And lashes go on the lash line. They don't go on the lid. They go where the real lashes grow from. Good, perfect. So you could see that this definitely adds a lot of drama to the lash line. But again, real, authentic 1920s would just be mascara. Mascara, preferably that cake mascara. So makeup artists, if you're, doing an authentic movie and you really want to show the makeup of the time, I would research cake mascara and put that in your kit and use that for your movie. I think it's really important as a film artist or TV or photo shoot makeup artist, when you're trying to do an authentic looking piece. Oh, this has a lot of glue. To use the tools and the makeup and the colors of that particular time period. It just looks much more authentic. Okay, good. And these are challenging. Just takes a lot of practice. So you slip it up and under into the groove where the real lashes grow from. So you could see that adds so much more drama. I see some of this coal is falling. So I put some powder on my Q-tip. Oh, sorry, Instagram. It's one thing about Instagram. It's such a pain keeping. Okay, sorry, Instagram. It just like goes in and out with the power. So I put some powder and I'm just cleaning up. That's another thing. You want to, maintain this makeup while on set too, or for a photo shoot. So by having your Q-tips and a little bit of powder, Good. Okay, perfect. So the lashes look good, although they're not, the sign of the time back then. They did bead lashes. They would glue, I guess, like individual lashes, and the tips would have like a little bit of a beading on it, which was really cool as well. All right, so I see my son at the door. He's gonna have to come to the back. Sorry, we're doing a video. All right, so heavy, heavy mascara, heavy lashes. I'm just gonna add mascara just to speed this up. And the last and final signature look to a 1920s makeup is the bee sting lip. All right, that Cupid's bow lip, where the top lip was kind of cut short, shaped very well, and a smaller bottom lip. It was like a very tight lip, almost, oh, kabuki. There's our Asian influence in our lip color as well. So the color that existed was red. Okay, they didn't have lip brushes. They used their lipstick tube, and that's how they shaped their lip. So again, if you were out in public and you were doing your lipstick, oh my goodness, you were a promiscuous girl ready to rob a guy. All right, so I'm going to actually just use this lipstick and use the corner, because again, I want this to be authentic, and create that. This is a new lipstick, by the way. I've never used this one. So it was with this rounded red bee stung lip Cupid's bow. So makeup artists, you would obviously use a brush, but for this particular look, because I want to be as authentic to the time, I'm using the actual lipstick. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edge, guys. I'm cutting it short to create that bow. I am going to cheat a little and just clean up this little dot. I also read that there were stencils used to create that perfect Cupid's bow lip. So you could put a stencil across and then use your red lipstick and just color that all in. So you want to stay mostly to the center. And deepen it. So in black and white, this did look very vampy, right? Because of the shade of red, because of the black eyebrows, everything in the black and white movie or a black and white photo, the lip and the eyes looked super, super dark, but you had that pale skin and that big round cheek. And that was the perfect 1920s look. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. This is like so much fun. I don't have a Bob's hairdo, but I kind of tried to achieve that look. So I hope it kind of gives you an idea, some inspiration of what a 1920s makeup and hair and fashion would look like. Oh, and if you showed your shoulder, God forbid. A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun researching it. and so much fun doing the makeup today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video and this look. And maybe it will inspire you to, incorporate some of these techniques in your makeup. And if you are a makeup artist and you're working on a project, or you're doing a 1920s inspired makeup, this helps as well. And there's so many variations of it. This was just one quick one. It's not too quick. It's 35-minute video. But there are so many variations of the makeup, hair, and clothing, of course. So do your research, do your own research. It's so much fun, and it's so much fun to learn about the world and American history. And wow, baby, we have come so far, right? All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We're going to explore the 1930s. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you all here. Please share with your friends. Tell them it's many, many days of period makeup. It's just going to be so much fun. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you.